Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. Welcome back to our analysis of Tawaruq financing. So we have about 4 videos already explaining the financing arrangement based on the Tawaruq contract. The one that we are doing now is for property financing. There will be other analysis for personal financing as well as fixed deposit Tawaruq. So this is a very important illustration or examination of how the Islamic banking system is able to provide liquidity or cash proceed at a price. So usually when we are looking at bank providing liquidity or cash proceed, it is referring to a loan. The bank giving a loan at a price. The loan is 10 million at 10% per annum. So for 5 years, so meaning that the interest charge would be 10 million multiplied by 10% multiplied by 5 years. So that will be 5 million interest charge. That will be a common practice in the riba or loan financing. But when the same need is to be attended in Islamic banking, where customers are looking for liquidity, but not the subject matter, because the subject matter is related to the other dimension of the arrangement. So meaning that in the property financing, the subject matter, which is the property or the home or the apartment, that transaction is taking place between the customer and the developer, and the Islamic bank have no role in the purchase or sale of the property. But the Islamic bank now coming in to provide the liquidity for the customer to pay the outstanding payment to the developer in order to acquire the total ownership of the property. So as I said earlier, that the Tawaruq financing is able to provide that sort of facility by using the contract of al-bay' or the contract of sale as opposed to riba. If liquidity is provided at a price using a loan with interest, that is of course riba, and that is prohibited. But now we will see, or we have seen, how the liquidity is provided by the Islamic bank using the contract of sale, and the liquidity was provided with a finance charge, and this is prohibited. This is considered to be permissible or Sharia compliant, because the facility is not involving a loan or qardu, but it is involving a sale, and therefore any profit from a sale is permissible, but any profit from a loan is prohibited. So by using a sale contract to provide the same facility, which is to provide a liquidity of 10 million at a price, so this arrangement is considered to be permissible. But then as we see earlier, when we look at some of the assumption in the Tawaruq, where in the master sale agreement the price of the CPO was set to be equal to the price of the CPO in the master purchase agreement. So this is a little shaky, because when we look at al-bay' as the alternative to riba, or Tawaruq is using al-bay' in order to provide the liquidity. So al-bay' must be really observed, meaning that when we do buy and sell, the price must be based on demand and supply. It must be based on market movement or market forces. So it cannot be internally determined by a system whereby there is no allowance for the price to move up and down based on demand and supply, as what Al-Bay' is supposed to observe in business. So therefore, when, for example, if we were to allow the price of the CPO to fall, for example, from 1600 to 1400, because earlier in the video we look at a case if the price goes up from 1600 to 1700. Now let's say that at the time of the MSA, the price of the CPO has come down to 1400. So what will happen to the Tawaruq contract, right? So if we were to use the actual Al-Bay' principle, that we will observe market prices or prevailing market prices. So the current price has gone down from 16 to 14, and therefore the customer need to sell to the vendor 2 at a price of 1400. And when that is done, the CPO was sold at 1400 multiplied by the 6250 ton, then the amount of cash generated from the sale would be 8.75 million. So that it will be lower than the amount expected by the customer, which is 10 million. And because of the fact that we are using the market price, then the customer will see that he or she will not be able to obtain 8.75 million as agreed in the Tawaruq contract. So the customer will be upset as he or she received less than the facility amount, which is 8.75 million instead of 10 million that was intended in the agreement. And at the same time, the customer still pays a profit charge of 5 million based on the 10% finance charge over the 10 million facility. And therefore, this will be a double jeopardy. He will be getting less than intended. At the same time, the finance charge will not be based on the 8.57 million, but it is based on the 10 million. And for this reason, the customer will be out of the money, and this will make the Tawaruq system unstable and therefore not workable, and maybe to be abandoned by the bank. So it is very crucial for the Tawaruq system to ensure that the price of the MSA and the price of CPO in the MSA and the price of the CPO in the MPA must be equal. But that will somehow violate the Al-Bay' principle, where the price have been controlled through some kind of arrangement or coercion, and this is not recommended in Al-Bay', and therefore this kind of arrangement to make the price of CPO in the MSA and MPA equivalent would invite some form of instability to the contract that can expose it to some form of Sharia non-compliance risk. So this is where we hope that the Tawaruq contract can further be improved, can further be enhanced, to make it closer to the actual Al-Bay' that the Quran has prescribed over riba. Alright, so thank you very much for your time, and inshallah we will try to further look into this matter as we move on. But please don't forget to comment and to share and to subscribe. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi.